What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Pete's Carport. Today we're going to be working on the RX8 ignition. Specifically going to be replacing the ignition leads as well as the coils. Now I'm going to link another video where we changed out the spark plugs, which all go in unison to what we're going to be doing today. So I got these NGK 8mm wires and these coils from a gentleman that I just picked up a rebuilt 6-speed transmission. Very excited. This transmission has 0 miles on it. It was done by a racing company, and the guy never got a chance to put it in his car and unfortunately wrecked it. So this is going to be an awesome addition to our race build. And he threw in a RX8 clutch, so we're going to be able to put a new clutch in. And on top of that, for just a little bit more money, he went ahead and threw in these NGK wires along with some MSD that you have to actually build. So they're wires that came with all the parts and everything to put together. So in a future video, we'll be building 9mm MSD ignition wires. So stay tuned. Okay, so the first thing we're going to want to do to be able to access the top of our lead wires is remove the airbox. If you have a stock airbox, if you have an aftermarket, you'll obviously know if you can get to the lead wires or if you do have to remove any piping or hoses. So let's go ahead and get started on that. So I've done a video on this, and since doing that I found a really easy way to get this airbox out in order to check my filter and clean it. A lot of people do videos on just pushing this up and back and pulling it out, checking your filter. And I find that you can easily damage either the part that presses into the intake section down below, which I did crack mine a little bit. Does not affect the performance of what I did, but just to keep that from getting any worse, I'm going to show you how I do it. So first thing you're going to want to do is remove your mass airflow sensor cable. Now I went ahead and actually unscrewed this so that I could take it out and clean it. So I'm going to set mine off to the side right now. That's your mass airflow, and then from there you do have a couple other things you're going to want to remove. There's a clip right here that you're going to want to pull off and set those off to the side there. And then what I do is I go ahead and I unscrew it from here, and what that allows you to do, let me see if I can get this with the one hand on the camera, is pull that apart there. So if you push that up and pull that apart, that is going to give you an easier access to your box. So let's go ahead and I'll show you. Then you can now pull your box out, which I've removed the clips on the front here, so my box is separated. So what I'm going to do is kind of show you guys real quick how this comes out. Let me see if I can put this off to the side. Okay, now that I pulled that other section off to the side, you can get a better idea of how this functions. So if you look, this bottom part actually presses into, it's got little prongs that press into rubber hoses, and then this part here, which is what I was talking about, as you can see I nicked it there, presses into a channel, and you want to make sure that gets into there when putting this back first. And then your little prongs, you're going to have top and bottom one. So let's go ahead and pull that out, and I'm going to set that off to the side. Now once we've got that out, we're going to just remove, there's 3 hoses here. Okay, and then you've got a screw up here that allows you to release your hose here. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and set that off to the side. Now you can see you can easily access your lead wires as well as your coils, and we're going to be changing our coils and as well as our lead wires. Our spark plugs were changed in a prior video that I will link below. So let's go ahead and get started on that. Alright guys, so now that we got our airbox out, you can see we can easily access our wires and our coils from the top here. So let's go ahead and show you how you can access the other end of these wires. So as you know from the past video, if you saw that on the spark plug removal, the best way to do this is to jack up the car and remove the tire. And like I mentioned, I don't have the specialized socket to go over the lugs on this tire. So we're just going to go ahead and attempt this without jacking it up. And I went ahead and already removed the one of these here, so you can see you can easily access your wires. And you see I pulled that top left one off, which is your trailing. And if you come up top, and I suggest you do them one at a time, and then we're going to build the coil and wire and put it together and do one at a time. So that is this one here. So if you see, I went ahead and it's easy to just pull that up. And then we're gonna go ahead and remove our coil. Now to remove the coil, you wanna go ahead and get yourself a 10mm socket, a extension, and a wrench. And you're just gonna come down in here, and you can see, I'll go to the first one here. You can see, you can easily access that and remove them. And then you're gonna pull that wire off, and you're gonna slide the new coil with the wire attached. So let's go ahead and do that, and I'll show you on that first one. Okay, now that we've got our first coil and lead wire removed, we're gonna go ahead and set up the first new coil to be installed with the wire attached. So this is the old coil. I can see somebody look like they put some dielectric grease down in there, which can actually cause a bad connection. So we're gonna be using dielectric grease, and we'll go over it more when we're building our new wires, those MSD 9mm. But for right now, if you do wanna use some, I'll link a video, and you're really supposed to just use it around the rubber boot to create a better seal and cause no electrical sparks and arcing. But now on to installing this. So now that we've got, I went ahead and measured out and matched up the wire that we just took out with the new one. We're gonna slide our new coil, the boot onto our new coil. And I faced it that direction so that I could get to the post and the nut. So we're gonna slide this right over the post. Okay, and you wanna make sure your cable's out of the way. And then we're gonna basically insert our cable, slide our nut over the post, get the nut started, and then we're gonna turn this wire and slide it down in there and connect it to the spark plug that we had taken the other wire off of. Now it's important to do one at a time so that you don't accidentally connect the wrong wires to the wrong spark plugs, because that can cause some major misfiring and issues. So let's go ahead and get started on that now. Okay, so we've got all the coils and all the new wires put on, and ironically, one of the coils I pulled out was very, very similar to the ones I put in, a little heavier, the gold insert. So if any of you guys know what brand that might be, it'd be kind of cool to know, but there's no real significant markings on them. The numbers don't seem to match up consistently on each one. But onto this, I wanted to point out that you actually can, if you have small enough hands and skinny enough arms to get down in here, you can reach each one of the plug ends from up top. So if you wanted to attempt it, I did it on the last one, get the wire and then pull the wire down in there without even going underneath the car. It's not that difficult if you have skinny enough hands. Just wanted to point that out. So now I'm gonna go ahead and get the airbox put back in, clean my MAF sensor once again, and we're gonna go ahead and fire this up and see if we get a better start. Alrighty. All right, time for a cold start after changing out those wires as well as those coils. So let's go ahead and do that now. It was a little long. I do want to mention that I was having, after doing the seafoam, changing the plugs, the car was starting extremely fast. And then a few days later, I noticed that I was having a pretty long hot start. So that's why I went ahead and decided I'll go ahead and change these wires out, give myself a little lesson on changing the leads as well as the coils, which were very easy. I wanted to fill you guys in that it's definitely something you can do at home. But let's go ahead and shut her down and call it a day. It's about to start football today. You guys have a great day, and go ahead and like, subscribe, and share. My name's Peter, and you're listening to Pete's Carport.